Wow, wow, wow. I just had a powerful discussion with Shane Sams of Flipped Lifestyle. Wow. His whole concept is how can you get 100 people to pay $50 a month for knowledge you already know? And most all of us know something so well that others wish they knew. You can create courses, products, and communities to help monetize your knowledge and make more money for your family. This is not some quick, rich scheme, anything like that. This is the real deal, leveraging the power of content to grow your business. In fact, it's the basis, a large the basis of my business. And Shane has this amazing system to help you do just that. He's with Flipped Lifestyle, him and his wife. You definitely have to check out our interview that we just did. Check it out right here. So Shane, can you start off with giving us a little bit about who you serve, what you do, what problem you solve? Let's start there.
Yeah, man. At flippedlifestyle.com, we help real working families start, build, and grow online businesses. We believe that everybody has God-given talents and experiences that they can use, knowledge that they can pour out of their head from their lips and their fingertips into some kind of product that they can go out there and serve the world. And by doing that, we think that everybody can go out and find 100 people to pay them $50 a month, make $60,000 a year on a membership site. So we really want to help families find freedom through online business.
I love that. And Shane, give us your full name and once again, the name of your company.
Shane Sams. I'm the host of the Flipped Lifestyle podcast and the Shane Sams Show, which is a tongue twister. And I did it on purpose just to make my team mad. And I'm the founder of flippedlifestyle.com.
I love it. So Shane, let's dive into this. I've gotten to know you a bit and I've dived into your website quite a bit. It's very interesting. And a few questions I have before we dive into the principles of what flipped lifestyle means. And I think if I said it enough times, I would say that thing you said, getting 100 people to pay you $50 a month to make $60,000
100 people, $50 a month, $60,000 a year, and 200's 120. So if you want to get to six figures fast, you only need 200 out of the 7 billion humans running around this joint to make it happen.
And I have a feeling if you're marginally half decent at math, you could run some numbers and make it 120 times 2.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Hey, 83 times 1,000 is a million. So I'm just saying that's all you need.
There we go.
$1 million.
So Shane, one point of clarity I have is that is your vision for this or what Flip Lifestyle is? I'm working of a full-time job. I'm a lawyer. I'm a stay-at-home mom, do it. And, or is it for people like me-ish, nobody's like me, but like me and you who do this as a full-time job, meaning I'm looking to be an entrepreneur. I got fired and I want to have a full-time business like some of our friends, the Pats and, sure. and whoever it may be of the world are. Clarify that for me.
It can be both. We have a lot of people in our community who, they want 20 people and pay them $50 a month, extra $1,000 a month to pay part of the mortgage, pay a car payment, whatever. And we have a lot of people who want to go full-time online. It's for anyone. This is a very different kind of niche online business because the system that we've created called the Flip Lifestyle Blueprint can overlay any hobby, interest, knowledge, or wisdom. Nice. So we have people that are lawyers that are helping people do things in the legal space. We have medical professionals, pharmacists who have started memberships for medical professionals and pharmacists. And we've even got people like Kenny Troiano, a guy out in San Diego, California that teaches people how to raise backyard chickens. And he's full-time online. He's got a podcast about chickens. He's got a membership about chickens, newsletter about chickens, and he's got a membership about chickens. So that's who it's for. It can be used in any way you want. It's kind of like the Swiss Army knife of an online business income.
Got it. And what do you think is stopping people, Shane, from doing more of this? What makes your system special? And I say this because what you're sharing, I'm guessing, how Shane does it is special. So this is the backhanded compliment. It's all on Google. I'm in the information space. People can say that about myself, right? Personal branding, it's all there, but I do have a system. So meaning my point is, why can't that stay-at-home mom, that lawyer, the guy who's selling chicken, we're doing this. We got mics, podcast systems. You go online, put some e-commerce up, Kajabi or any other tools you want and do it. What's stopping people from just Googling it and getting this done? Because as I'm sure you agree, the tools, it's all there for anybody to grab. What's stopping people?
A buddy of mine named Mark Mason. You ever heard of Mark? Mark over at, he runs it's Moonlighting on the Internet or something like that. I can't remember. Mark said something very interesting to me. We were at dinner once and he said, everybody's running from something or toward something. And what we have found is that a lot of times the people not taking action, not doing it, are stable, are stagnant, are sitting still, and they're not running away from something. They're not running towards something. They haven't identified a good why to do it yet, right? Or they may know the why, but they just don't know about this. They don't know about like membership sites in particular, because when you go online, you hear a lot of, You got the Gary V camp telling you to work 70, 80 hours a week. And that's not exactly appealing to somebody who's working full time and raising kids.
Is it down to 70 now? Did they lower it?
It's down to 70. He was up to 90 there for about 2017. Oh, Gary changed it a little bit. You know what I mean? But then you also, you hear then on the other end of the spectrum, you have the get rich quick people who are like, oh man, just sell $1,000 course. Everybody's going to buy it. And
all
so
those people,
hard.
Shane, have a Lamborghini in the back and people with hardly any clothes. So the
That's
Gary
exactly
V model,
right.
work 90 hours.
Everywhere in between, man, And I think my background, I'm a blue collar guy. I was a school teacher. My wife was a school teacher when we started. We had a really big why we did this, which we can talk about later. But like, once we identified our why, once we got into it, we needed something that could work for real, right? Like for real people and not be feast or famine course sales where maybe you had a great launch and you could brag about it for the rest of your life, but the rest of the time you were broke and struggling to make your next $1,000 sale. And then we didn't have 70 hours, man. I would go to school at 5:30 a.m., come home after football practice with a weight room at 7. And I had like an hour and a half after I saw my kids to actually sit down and build a business. So we were kind of forced by necessity to come up with a different kind of model that could work for anybody and work for real people.
Absolutely. I love it. So feel free to take us where you want to take this, Shane. I'd love to hear a bit about your background, but I'm itching to get into what is this flip lifestyle system that are you saying pretty much anybody, maybe I'm sure there has to be some qualification, but maybe anybody who has some knowledge, it seems, can begin to share. So why don't we start? Let's leave people waiting a bit. Let's hear a little bit more about the background, what brought you to this point of being a successful business owner with your wife and family. And I have to comment again, the hole you have in the wall behind you. I know it's not a hole.
Everybody thinks it's a hole. We talked about this. Everybody thinks that's a hole, but this must be the best optical illusion in podcast history. This Kentucky thing hanging on. I got a big wooden glowing Kentucky hanging behind me, y'all. Yeah. And everybody's like, man, how'd you carve that hole in that wall so precisely? I need to just start going with it and just be like, man, X-Acto knife. Oh, I had it, man. I'm an artist too. No, I'm not.
So tell us, Shane, a bit about your background and how you got to this point. Then we'll get into the flip lifestyle system. I do want to hear about that because I do think there's some key principles that if people follow them, hopefully you'll check out what Shane's system are. But I hope you'll even learn listening to us today, and maybe you'll just go forth and do it. So, Shane, tell us about your background. What was your why to bring you to wanting to do this?
Yeah, I mean, in 2012, about 10 years ago or so, my wife and I were school teachers in Southeast Kentucky. I was a social studies teacher. I taught history to hoodlum juniors. And my wife was an elementary librarian at an elementary school. And we were on that good enough railroad track lifestyle, man. We were just on our way to retirement. I always tell people we were broke. We didn't have a lot of money. We got paid on Friday. Every Friday we got paid, but it ran out every Thursday. That was the problem.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And, but we had a good life, man. I don't ever want anyone to think I wasn't grateful for what God had given me back then. We had our kids, Isaac and Anna Joe. We went to work every day. I remember in the Great Recession in 2007, I saw so many people lose their livelihood and I had tenure. I was on a tenured track in my school. So I had a job. I was very grateful for that. And honestly, if nothing had knocked us off the railroad track, I would probably still be doing that today. But we actually had a really bad situation happen at my son's daycare. Like a lot of working parents, my wife and I had to use daycare. My daughter was under 2 at the time. So she went to a baby facility and my son was over at a toddler daycare center. And one morning, my son would not go into the daycare. He was screaming and freaking out. And he told me that one of the workers inside scared him. And when I asked him why, I found out that there was a person who worked at this daycare who was punishing my son for potty training accidents by locking him in a bathroom for hours at a time in the dark. And we found out in the papers later on when all of this came to be that they were doing crazy things. Like one lady couldn't control kids. So she would sit on a beanbag chair on top of them and hold them down all day because they wouldn't calm down. It was a really bad situation, man. This daycare was a wonderful place, but the lady who owned it retired and sold it. And they just hired a lot of unqualified people who didn't know how to handle kids. So,
and by the way, a side issue, Shane, that is a nightmare for all parents. I know I have family members of mine who take their kids, especially when they're tiny, when they're a bit older and can speak, 10 years old, 13 years old. You still got to be careful. But I think I don't want to go too off the reservation, but I think 2 things I'm hearing, Shane, and feel free to give me feedback. I have 2 adult children, but I think one, all parents, you got to listen to your kids. And I think the biggest fear is, let's say somebody says something about me. Is the kid lying? Which can be true. They can lie, but you better hear if it's truthful because kids don't always know how to express that. So kudos to you, Shane, for being able to listen to that.
You know, it was weird looking back. I can see the signs now, but I was such a new parent at the time.
Yeah.
Like Isaac was really terrified of the dark, wanted to sleep with us.
Mm-hmm.
He got it worse and worse about leaving us, but like that was like, don't kids have separation anxiety?
Exactly.
And potty training's hard. Like your kids get scared of the bathroom.
Yeah.
Like he would only go to the bathroom out in the hall. Like we remember this. Like, and I'm like, now looking back, I'm like, were those signs? But it's also like, or did I just not know how to potty train? You know, it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
And even in that moment, Ramon, man, I was processing this in the parking lot. Part of me wanted to go burn down the building, and you know, I mean, that's what part of me wanted to do. But the other part of me was like, well, I need to be a rational human here and figure out is this true? What does that mean? She puts me in the bathroom for a long time. Like, what does that mean? You know? So as I'm standing in the parking lot processing this, I knew that I had two things to do. I had to figure out what I was going to do with Isaac because I couldn't leave him here, clearly. And then I had to get to school because a teacher is legally obligated to be in their classroom at the start of the day. I mean, you are responsible for someone else's children, and high school juniors will burn down the building or make babies if there's not a teacher in the room. So we got to get to school, you know. And I was a good employee. I was very loyal. I look back, almost feel brainwashed by the system. Like I had to be at work, right? Yeah. So I did the only thing I could do. I tried to call Jocelyn. I tried to call my principal. I couldn't get a hold of anybody. So I took Isaac to Anna Joe's facility, my little girl. And there was a lady there that had kept Isaac as a baby from the, you know, I knew her. I trusted her. And I said, please, can you keep him? And she said, I can, but we're only allowed to keep kids up to 2. You got to come back before the end of the day. You can't just leave him here all day. We can't do that. And I was like, okay, I'm going to run to work and I'll come right back. So I had about a 40-minute commute to get to my job. Flew there in about 20 minutes, right? Went and got a teacher to watch my class for a minute so I could go find the principal and see if I could get the day off. And I went down. My main principal wasn't there. There was another lady that was there that day that she was our supervisor in charge. And I told her exactly what I just told you. And then, man, she said something I will never forget. She leaned back in her chair and took her glasses off and laid them on the desk, almost like you're about to scold a child, right? She was an older lady, and I think that she was trying to just pass. She thought she was helping me at the time. I don't think this was malicious. But the next words out of her mouth were shocking. She said, Mr. Sams, is your son in immediate danger right this second? And I said, no, not right now. And she said, well, if he's not in immediate danger now and he's in a safe place, you're going to have to handle your personal problems after work because all the subs are out. The day has already started. Can't get you a sub. And I got too much on my agenda to be able to go watch your class all day. I know your son needs you, but your job needs you too. And man, I was so mad in that moment. I was like, that's unacceptable. I'm going back to my son. And she's like, well, you can't just leave your classroom. And I'm like, I'm going to have to deal with the consequences. So I just left and I just walked out of her classroom. And man, on the way back, I caught my own reflection in my rearview mirror hanging in the middle of my windshield. And I looked at myself and I was mad, man. I was so mad. I was not mad necessarily at the daycare or the workers. I wasn't mad at my boss. I was mad at myself that I had made this dark trade of my time and life and what was important for a steady paycheck, health insurance, and maybe retirement someday. And dude, I promised myself in that moment that I would find a way to become and stay self-employed. I would find a way where nobody could tell me that I couldn't be there for my son or my daughter or my wife ever again.
Wow. So
that's what sent me down the rabbit hole of looking for some kind of.
No, I love that, Shane. And I think that, you know, some people have the full-time job, but I think many people, in my case too, Shane, by the way, my situation, I was fired from the UN. So we all have,
that's your catalyst. That's your catalyst, man.
Some people I'm looking at Shark Tank. You know what? Let me resign from my $1 million job and perfect life. Rarely is it that. Oftentimes something happens.
That's right. That's right. Those dark things actually are God is moving. Yes. I could never have seen then what God was going to do in me and my wife Jocelyn's life over the next 10 years in that moment. And I would never say I'm grateful or thankful for that catalyst, but I do know that God used our situation in a mighty way. Yes. And it's helped thousands of people since then to maybe never even have to put their kids in a
Yes.
daycare center. So
And you're thankful for the results, maybe. I'm sure that you
exactly.
probably, yes, absolutely.
Exactly. So what happened was, man, I mean, I had no training as an entrepreneur. I mean, I looked at some different things like to do. Like I told Jocelyn one day, I said, could I be a handyman? Like maybe I could just like get my home inspector's license, do home inspections and stuff, and fix things and whatever. Yeah, man. And but my wife quickly reminded me I was not very handy. So she's like, I don't want you burning other people's houses down. That is not true.
Yeah.
And she was just like, Shane, you've got a master's degree. You spent 7 years in college to do this. You've been teaching for 10 years. Like, what are we doing here? And I'm like, I know, but there's got to be something else. So one day I was mowing my grass and I was listening to a podcast. This was still 2012. I mean, the podcasts were a new thing back then, you know, and I stumbled across the Smart Passive Income podcast with Pat Flynn. Super early in Pat's journey. He was not the podcaster he is today.
Now you could email him directly, huh? Today
I could email him directly, man. Yeah, dude, that's how I know him. I know Pat because I was every minute of my story I was emailing him, and he was emailing me back then, man.
Nice.
And I was listening to him, and I just happened to listen to one of his early episodes, which he only had like 30 or 40 at the time. But this particular episode was about how he took all of his blog about passing the architecture licensing exam, and he put he had documented his process, how he studied and passed it, and he realized people were coming to his website and they were reading his blog posts, and he thought, hey, what? And someone told him, hey, put a PayPal button on that, charge them like $50 and see if someone will buy the PDF, make a study guide for them. And just about 2 weeks before I heard this podcast, me and my wife were going to Muhlenberg County, Kentucky to see her parents. And I was sitting in the car and I was looking out the window, and I just out of nowhere had this thought bubble up. What if I could get 100 people to give us $50 a month? Like we made $5,000 a month together in both of our teaching jobs. I was like, that would replace our income. So I perked up and I said, Jocelyn, I think I know how to do this. All I got to do is figure out something I can sell that I can get 100 people to give us $50 a month. And if we could do that, we could replace our income. So of course, my ever practical wife looked at me and said, how are you going to do that? And I looked back at her and said, I don't know, but I said it, so it has to be real. I mean, there's something to this. There's 7 billion humans. I can get 100 of them, right? So this thought was already in my head, and I listened to Pat's launch story. It's $47, $49, whatever he picked. He sends this out, and he makes $9,000 on the internet, monetizing his wisdom and experience and knowledge. He just let that come out of his brain and into the world and passed it to the next person who needed it. And I was like, that's it. That's how I can get 100 people to give me $50. I make content every day. I'm a school teacher. I'm a football coach. So I jumped off my lawnmower, went inside, told Jocelyn.
Did you turn the lawnmower off?
No, I know. It may still be running. I don't know where it is. It's gone. It's out there somewhere. It don't matter. I'll buy a new one, right? Like I pay people to mow my yard now. So it's okay. I don't need it anymore. But I ran inside, I told Jocelyn this, and she was like skeptical. Like she was like, well, that kind of makes sense, but she basically said, okay, you figure it out. If it works, come back and tell me, you know? So I go you know how it is, man, when you start as an entrepreneur, nothing works for the first few months. I mean, you're just sitting there bashing your head against the brick
and I want to underline that just again I always like to have these teaching moments. So I think, remember that those of you who are just starting your business, have cash flow, get ready for it not to work for a while, because I think that's the case with many things, not all, but whether you're getting a Dunkin' Donuts franchise or starting your own business, hopefully you look at Flip Lifestyle, it's going to take some time to get traction. Continue. But I just want to underline that.
Like you got to speak for free before anybody will pay you. You know what I mean? Anything like that. So I was about to give up. I was really frustrated. I was really sad because I thought, man, this looked like such a promising thing. And, and I was really frustrated. And one night I was laying in bed, super depressed. Jocelyn was reading a book. Kids were asleep. And I was looking at how you check your stats all the time, your podcast downloads, your analytics. Did anybody buy anything today or whatever? Well, all I had at the time, I was learning how to build websites, and I just put Google ads all over it. And I was hoping my spammy website, someone would find it and accidentally click something, just to make some money. Because all these people said that worked. And I was like, all right. And so I was making all this stuff and nothing, goose egg, nil, zero, zilch. I mean, just no money. And I was like, this is stupid. And I shut my computer, went to get ready for bed. And I didn't even turn the light on in the bathroom, Ramon. I was just standing there brushing my teeth in the dark. And I just about started crying. And I just prayed and I said, God, is this real? Like, is Pat Flynn serious or is he full of it? Like, you know, if it's real and this you can make money on the internet, like I will tell me, and whatever it takes, I'll move heaven and earth to make it happen. But if it's not real, tell me that too, because I am blessed and thankful that you gave me this career and this profession and that my family's needs are met. But just, I can't do this anymore. Just give me a sign, you know? Jocelyn was getting frustrated. I was spending so much money on training and courses and hosting and whatever.
And Shane, tell me now, what at this time, what were you selling? I don't know if you mentioned that. What were you selling?
Nothing. I was selling content. I was trying to create.
What was the theme? What was the theme?
Okay, so we had a website called U.S. History Worksheets.
Okay, got it. Okay.
And my goal was, well, maybe I could put a free worksheet up and I'll hide it in the middle of all my spammy ads, and someone will think they're downloading that and they'll click something else. Okay. Like I was just, because I'm just looking for any kind of proof of concept.
But maybe something for parents who wanted to get their kids studying history.
Well, it was for teachers. I thought, well,
okay.
I look for worksheets all the time, and I'm a history teacher. Maybe there's 100,000 history teachers.
Perfect.
Maybe there's another one looking for something.
Got it.
So that's what I'd done. I'd done a couple other blogs too, but they were just like disasters. But it was like to learn WordPress basically at that point. So I went back in and I was picking up my computer to lay down and go to sleep. And I don't know what made me do it, man, but I just wanted to open my computer and check my stats one more time. So I opened my computer. I was on the Google AdSense screen and I hit refresh. And where a 0 had been there before, there was 11 cents in my AdSense account, a dime and a penny.
And that was AdSense, not a purchase, just people know, but this was AdSense, an ad.
We don't, yeah, I had not put 2 and 2 together about digital products yet. But it was money. It was, I had created something and money came back. And that was my only goal at this time, was to prove it was real, to prove to Jocelyn that we could make money on the internet. Yes. And I just started celebrating and jumping up and down. And Jocelyn's like, what are you doing? And I showed her and I was like, look, this is real. I made money online. I don't care how much it is. If it's 11 cents, it can be $11. It could be 11 people. It could be 1,100. We just got to figure out how to make more of this happen. Right. And Jocelyn looked at the screen and her eyes kind of squinted and she tilted her head and was like, wow, what else can we do? And when Jocelyn came in, we got to, you know, the Bible says that, you know, 2 are better than 1, baby.
That's right.
You know, you can get more work back for your efforts.
And when 2 or more gathered.
That's right, man. And when Jocelyn got on board, we were able to sit down and she was like, show me everything you did. So I gave her the Cliff Notes version of everything I had learned. And then she goes, and tell me about Pat again. And we looked at Pat again. And we both, I mean, in that conversation, we realized that Pat had one missing ingredient, was creating products that people actually pay for to get a result, right? He taught them how to get a specific result. So we started looking at specific results that we could get for people based on our knowledge, wisdom, and experience. Well, I was a football coach. I had a really good defense that was perfect for teams that didn't have good players. It was like designed to cover and mask your weaknesses. Because, you know, at Nick Saban in Alabama has 6'5" guys that run 4.5 40s. Well, at little country schools in Kentucky, you've got 5'6" guys that run 5.4 40s. That doesn't work as good on Friday night as Nick Saban's defense, right? So I had come up with this defense that was really good at that. And I was like, well, I'll make playbooks. And Jocelyn was an elementary librarian. Elementary librarians have the hardest job in the school. They're all by themselves usually. There's usually only one. They have to teach every class every day, like first grade, kindergarten, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth. So you're constantly moving back and forth between preps. Well, each prep for one day, if you're a teacher, and all the teachers out there listening, you know this, it's 2 hours to teach 1 hour, right? So you're talking 10 hours to teach one day. That's crazy. So Jocelyn was like, well, what if I create lesson plans for elementary librarians? And I'm like, that's great. We'll a lesson plan for every day, bell to bell instruction, never plan a lesson again. That was our motto. So she starts a blog called elementarylibrarian.com. I start a football blog and a forum for football coaches. And Jocelyn and me both started like podcasting. I actually started a podcast because Pat Flynn had a podcast. Maybe that was one of the differences.
Of course.
I started a coaching football podcast. Jocelyn started the Elementary Librarian podcast. I know that sounds riveting and everybody wants to tune in to the librarians talking about shop, right? But she started this podcast and we built a little following. She got a couple hundred downloads. She got a couple hundred emails. She got some people reading her blog. Not a big audience at all. And in July of 2012, Jocelyn sent an email out that said, hey, if I make these lesson plans for you, will you buy them? A bunch of people said yes. But we learned real early on, people will always say yes, but they vote with their wallet. So we got a PayPal button and we said, if you buy it, we will make it. Sent that out, and the first email to a small list of about 250 people for August lesson plans. We made $2,500.
Wow.
In the first, that was one of our paychecks. The first
Shane,
email
can
we
I just,
sent, man.
two things to underline. One, you talked about you had the community and fan base. I don't want to we can go too much into this, but I know I talk a lot about this in my book, Celebrity CEO. Build a fan base, ask for a smile before a sale. So that's one. Nobody bought, but just build the community. Two, minimal viable product. The fancy people, Reese, I forgot the guy's startup, the guy who founded LinkedIn, he has so that's two. It's real minimal viable product. Three, sell before you have it. We're not talking about some slimy stuff like whatever, but it's especially in the digital product world.
It's a promise.
Ask people, hey, if I do this, will you buy it? It's kind of like crowdfunding in a way. So I just wanted to underline those three things to get people thinking.
And it doesn't take long or a huge audience.
Right.
And it's not a big ask, like just you're making a promise, and we used PayPal because we said to people, hey, you can always dispute the charge. You can get your money back. PayPal will give you your money back if we don't deliver.
Nothing to lose.
So Jocelyn freaks out now because she's got to make this product because so many people bought. She makes August. She sends another email. I'll make September if you want September, $3,000. I'll make October if you do that. This goes on. And we realized, like, why sell it every month? Eventually, we could just charge monthly for this. They can get access to everything. So that's how the membership model emerges from our.
Let me guess what you're going to say.
Plans. Go ahead.
Get 100 people to pay $50, $50,000. See, I'm getting it. I'm smart. I'm getting it.
That's what we were looking for, baby. That's all we needed. So we go on about May of 2013. We're up to $5,000 every month. People are buying stuff from us, and we look down and we're like, I think we could quit our job, but we were kind of scared because it happened once. Will it happen next year? Who knows? So we actually sold our house in May and downsized. We had this nice house, 2,400 square foot house, above ground pool, baby. You know what I mean? In a nice neighborhood. We sold that, moved into a smaller house that had been built in the 30s and remodeled in the 70s. And this sweet little old lady and took so good care of it. So it was a great place to live. And we moved in that. It cut our mortgage in half. So now we had more money.
That's right.
To invest back into the business. So we had downsized everything. We worked all the way through the summer. June was our first drop because we realized there's no teachers in school in June. So there was a huge drop off in revenue, right? Because people didn't know it. But we emerged in July ready for back to school. In July, we do our back to school sale, big launch. We make $15,000 in July of 2013. August of 2013, we make $36,000. And at this point, we're just looking at each other going, if this is what we can do part-time, what could we do full-time? And we had also launched ushistoryteachers.com at that time, which is my history site for a history lesson plan, same model. And I also had launched Coach XO, which was my football coaching site. I did a live clinic that summer in Atlanta, and I had real coaches come in live and into my community, meet up to, it was amazing. And that was taken off. And on September 27th, 2013, we quit our jobs. And we never looked back. But like Flip Lifestyle at this time was not even a blip on the radar.
Sure,
not even a
but now
thought,
that's taking the lessons that you learned all this time, your story now, into Flip Lifestyle. So let's migrate to, tell us a bit about Flip Lifestyle. What, not the product so much yet, what people can join and all that, but I'm curious, what you're teaching people, what your story is, how to do what you just said. Is that the essence, or am I getting it wrong? What's the...
Yeah. We kind of accidentally realized that what we did was really different than what a lot of other online business income teachers teach. Right. Sure. When we quit our jobs, man, everybody thought we were crazy. I mean, we were giving up tenure. We were giving up everybody thought we were nuts.
You were.
Right. We were a little bit. We were crazy. I'll tell you some stories about how people, I about got disowned by my mama, like all sides. She was mad at me, man. But what happened was, when people at first were like, what are you doing? And then all of a sudden the question started to change to, wait, what are you doing? Like they started leaning in instead of pulling back. And Jocelyn had a friend named Lindsay, and she came up to her after church one day and said, I would love to stay home and homeschool my daughter.
That's right.
And my son. Do you think that I could do what you guys are doing? Could you show me how to do this? And they were just like us. They were working family, had a little boy, little girl, like same scenario. And we said, yeah, why not? So Jocelyn showed her how to make digital products. We showed her how to get them clean and nice, and how to take payments and how to get them out there to the world. We had a lot of scaffolding with her. We really helped her do it like alongside us more, but it was the basic process. And
she was a friend close. So that was before Flip Lifestyle was just helping friends and family.
Friend. Yeah, man. She goes out, puts her digital products out, and within a few months made enough money to quit her job. and she stayed home to homeschool her kids, and she still homeschools today, years later. And then one day, a few months later after church, her husband came up to me.
He was like, wait a minute. I'm hearing my wife say this.
Yeah, right. He's seeing it. Yeah, he's seeing it.
He's like, don't tell her I'm talking to you, but
no. We were both like taking the shortcut in the back of the church to get to beat the nursery line. Yes. So we ran into each other. We had our own scheme going to get in front of everybody. And he said, man, I don't think that I've ever truly thanked you for what you did for our family. It's amazing that my wife gets to homeschool our kids, and we've got to do a lot of amazing things because of this online income. But I wanted to tell you, I'm chasing a dream now. I have always had a dream to be a professor, but I never borrowed the money because I didn't want to. I felt guilty about putting my family in, debt to get a PhD. And we're using this money now to go. I'm going to go back to school and pay for it as I go. And he eventually became a college professor. He teaches in college now. And man, when he told me that, and I was just stunned. And now I'm crying. He's crying by the end of this conversation. And the last thing he said to me is, "This really changed our life." And when I got in the car on the way home from church that day, I told Jocelyn, this changed our life and this changed their life. Maybe we should go change other people's lives. And that's when we decided to start the Flipped Lifestyle podcast, to start the Flipped Lifestyle community. I had been talking to Pat at this time. We had actually flown out to California to see him, and he invited us to come on his podcast. And we decided, hey, we're rolling this podcast out. Let's just do it there. And the overwhelming response was like a message from God. We had 120 people join the membership the first webinar, and we were like, wow, this is probably where we're supposed.
So tell us, Shane, then what are you teaching? Give us a peek inside Flip Lifestyle. What is because there, as you said, there are so many different ways to do it. Help us understand what is this?
Yeah, the first thing we do in the process, we have 7 phases in the Flipped Lifestyle Blueprint, right? The first thing that we do is we help you identify your God-given talents, experiences, and wisdom that you can turn into digital products. The digital products are the anchor of whatever you do inside of your membership community. So it has to go first. We are a product first company. We are not a build it and they will come. Like, this is not Field of Dreams, people. Kevin Costner's not real in real life, right? That's not true. But like, we always want to get that minimum viable product ready to go. And if you just encapsulate your wisdom and your experience, you don't have to do all this market research and stuff like that. If you had a problem and you solved your problem, somebody else has that problem. You're not a unique snowflake.
And to be clear,
put it out there.
If somebody comes to you and says, "Oh, let me go learn this for 2 years and come back," that's not for you. You're saying, "No, what already? Can I slap you in the head at 3 a.m. and you can speak for an hour?" That's right. The people you want.
Here's how we say it. Okay. What do you know that nobody else knows you know? Think about that. What do you know right now that you just aren't telling people that you know it? I don't care if it's changing tires, whatever it is, you know something that people behind you don't know in the journey. That's what we turn into a product. All right. So once we get the idea and the product, we're good. Now we have to build an audience after that. So now we go back and we figure out how to create content. And let me simplify this for y'all. There's only 3 kinds of content: audio, video, and text, y'all. This ain't complicated. Do you want to type? Do you want to talk? Or do you want to be on camera? Just pick one. Whatever you want to do, you do it. Somebody's going to read it, listen, or watch it. I promise. Okay. So you start creating content consistently. You start trying to go out and put yourself out there. You want to put yourself out there so you can be in the right place at the right time. And that starts building up the audience, the following, the whatever. After you've got your content and your product moving, we show you how to build a business around what we call the membership mindset. Right? How to build that content, build that product, how to be consistent, how to market your membership. We're really big on email marketing. Email marketing is the best way to make money on the internet. Don't let anybody tell you different. If you've been on Clubhouse for 65 years, it's great. But I'm telling you right now, you're on Clubhouse to get emails and email them. That's why you're there. Okay. Just another social platform, whatever it is, Facebook, Twitter, get the email addresses. So we focus a lot on email marketing. And then we focus on, being consistent, being prolific, doing stuff every day, and relentlessly following up with service, right? That's how we teach people how to build that. We go on deeper in the program, teaching you how to manage a community. One person can easily manage 500 to 1,000 people. I mean, it's not hard in the system that we've got created based on forums, based on videos, based on Q&As. So we teach people how to manage their community, how to do those things. And then the goal is just to build the life that you want to build. That's what flipped lifestyle means. The old lifestyle that we're all taught growing up is go to school, go work for somebody else. When they tell you you can't be there for your child, you listen because you're an employee, right? Like we flip that upside down. No. Jocelyn goes on my calendar first. Isaac and Anna go on my calendar first, then my business, then my other stuff, then everything else. So that's what flipped lifestyle really is. It's for family-focused entrepreneurs who want to make a great living on the internet, who want to have time freedom. We don't call it passive income, but you can make income 24/7, right? Yeah. You make sales at night while you're asleep. You wake up and there's more there. And to build a stable, predictable income that can give you a really great life. And if you want to push it, you can push it. I just had a guy like a couple months ago, he sold his membership for $2 million. Have you ever heard of Brooke Castillo, the life coach school?
I have not. A lot of people haven't heard of.
Yeah.
I'm going to check him out.
Brooke Castillo is a top 20 business podcast. She's a huge podcaster. She started in our community. Her membership made $35 million last year.
That's too much. That's too
man.
much.
I'm telling you, man.
Did she have to call her bank and say, can you open the vault a bit more?
I don't know. She was on my podcast. Go back and listen. I was talking to her. I thought, Brooke, what in the world? I remember the day that she decided to do a membership. She's like, all right, I'll do it. And then like I talked to her 2 years later and I'm like, what are you doing? And I'm learning from you. Teach me, right? But it could be what you want. I mean, some people don't want that kind of business. They don't want to grow to $100 million. They want to make great money, pay for their kids' college, invest, have good retirement. I mean, that's what.
Let me ask you a question,
build the lifestyle you want, man.
Yeah, I'm curious, Shane. Who is this not for? Please, you have to tell me. I want to understand, who is this not for? Who is this kind of journey that the world we're in to a degree? Who is this not for? There are people you would say, you know what? You have a great job at whatever big company or small company, you're happy there, stay there. Because I know everybody can do, everybody has knowledge, but who would you say, even to go so far, hey, Ramon, these percent of people have come through flip lifestyle, it didn't work for them because, or whatever version you want to answer me. Who's it not for?
So I think there's I think there's a third category, and we kind of touched on it earlier. There's the entrepreneur. There's the person who wants total life freedom, right? That's like us. You want to work for yourself. You want to be the leader. You want to do that. That's fine. That's the people that are going full time, making online. Then there's people like my brother. My brother, he started creating a little website. Mm-hmm. He started creating a little side income, but he also values his sliding scale is back on that security. Absolutely. He likes having the job with a little bit of extra income. If something goes wrong here, he's got that. That's where he lives.
And he loves his job, clearly.
He likes his job.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. So he's fine. The people that I find it's not for are the people, how can I say this delicately? Like, there's only two ways to make money, guys. You roll up your sleeves and you open your wallet. You invest time and effort and money. Yeah. And I do find that some people who are very comfortable, who maybe just have a dream that they want to do something, it's probably not for you, because it's going to take time. It's going to take energy. It's going to take some work. You also kind of need, you want to have a mission with the membership model. It does, like that guy who's raising backyard chickens, man, he's sustainable farming, treating chickens right. Like, he's really into that, and it's a mission for him. And no business model will give you more impact in the world than the membership model. When you have 200 people and they're spread over 30, 40 states in the United States, and you're impacting those people, you're impacting the world. Right. So that works really good. So I would say people who are, this is not a hobby. If you're super comfortable and you're just trying to do something for fun or to prove you can, it's probably not for you. Now, if you've got a mission you're on fire for and you want to do something, yes. If you want a better life for your family, yes. If you have a catalyst and you're running from something, it's great for you too. But any business is not going to work if you're just not really all in and ready to burn the boats.
I love it. It seems to me, Shane,
but it can morph. It's a transformer. Yeah. You want 1,000, you can get 1,000. You want 1 million, there's a path.
I know.
You just got to figure out how to do it.
And it seems to me that and you haven't said this, so if I'm wrong, push back, but not only for those families or individuals who want some extra income, which is one, it seems like that's a thrust of at least the beginning gate for Shane and your lovely wife and family. But it seems like a second part could be a lot of my community, Shane, are consultants and speakers and authors who are stuck, who don't know how to do this other side of income that you and I have done well. It seems like they should consider this flip lifestyle model, however it is, but they should consider this, understanding this. Is that about right?
All coaches should have a membership. This is something that I've really learned over probably the last year, as we've seen a bunch of successful coaching people in our community in all kinds of spaces, not just business coaches. Like we've got people that are coaching women through grief. We've got people coaching people through pregnancies. We've got people, whatever it is. Like if you're coaching someone through something, you can have you may love coaching. Like I keep 2 coaching groups on Monday. Group coaching, 10 people each group, a beginner group and a more advanced group, right? I do that because I really look forward to that and enjoy hanging out with those members of my community. And it keeps the pulse of those 2 groups in my brain, so I don't go too far away from it. You know what I'm saying? But what's cool is when you have a membership site, most coaches are building some kind of audience through referrals, speaking, podcasting, whatever. If you can put a percentage of that audience into a nice stable membership, one, you now have a floor of income. So when 5 of those clients leave you, you're not back to zero. Right. Your floor, if you got 100 people paying you $50 a month, instead of zero, your floor is 5,000, right? Mm-hmm. So your floor becomes higher than most people's ceilings. That's pretty cool. And it gives you a stable pool of people who are already paying you when you need to fill coaching spots. So you constantly have this audience referral into membership into coaching, and it's like a circle, right? And then your coaching clients don't leave you totally. They just go back down to the membership level most of the time, right? But it's great for authors like who want to piggyback. Like imagine if you're an author and you write a book, and each chapter of your book, you record a module, and inside the module, you have a community of other people who read your book. Wouldn't people who read your book want to be inside your membership? Speakers are the same way. You're going to be on stage. You're going to be off the stage, shaking hands, kissing babies, and meeting everybody afterwards. Like every time you hand out a business card, and y'all, I still have business cards. Y'all should still have business cards. Be old school and have business cards, baby. Ramon's getting his business card out right now. I can tell. There it is. I'm looking at it. That's right. But like when you do that, imagine you can say to people, hey, if you liked what I did on stage, you should see what I do every month in my community, because I go live with my community every month, right? So it fits in perfect. Anybody that's out there promoting their wisdom, knowledge, and experience, 80% of what you say to everybody is going to be the same. That can go into your product. And then you can cover the 20% through coaching and community. And it's a membership site, and people will pay you. We are deep in the membership economy. Netflix, Disney Plus, Peacock. Like there's a reason all these massive companies have completely shifted in the last few years to this recurring revenue model, because it creates stability and predictability, and anyone can do it on a micro level. You don't need that many people to make great money online.
Yeah, and you're right, Shane. I think that's amazing when you think about the old software back in the days that we would buy on CD. On one hand, it was nice just paying $200 for the software. I don't have to pay anything else. On one hand, but I must say, paying $30 a month for $50, $100 a month for the software, you're paying more in the long run, but it's refreshed, man. Every month, every week, every year, it's new.
And it's not just the content. I want to stress that too, man. Like, don't get me wrong. The content is the seed. People come for the product, but they stay a member because of the people. Yeah,
that's right.
And like my people, like we do co-working sessions where we literally just get together, and my employees will, whenever they're working on something, they'll go live for our members, and they'll be like, what are you working on? Some people will be building a blog, some people, and they just sit there and work together. We have Q&As twice a month. I do 2 Q&As a month with my community, and I answer questions. We have forums where our community can support each other. Someone will ask a question, 5 other members will answer it, right? Or point it in the right direction. So that community and that feel of being a part of that community, people will come to you and your personality because they relate to you and your personality, and you will build a tribe of people who have that personality. And everybody's, like we say, family focused entrepreneurs, right on our podcast art. Like it's overt. Like, don't come here as a 80-hour-a-week worker living on Thailand on $6 a day. You are not going to fit in. I'm sorry, right? But families and people, and if you have those kind of values, we're going to draw you in. Yes.
And I think it's important what you're doing, because Shane could have said, "Hey, listen, if you want to have tequila every week and go and bar surf or whatever you want to do in your life, which is fine for you, it's a choice." But I think what Shane is saying, as Seth Godin says, he's raising his flag. We serve these kinds of people who want this kind of life, and blah, 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 blah.
And everybody's welcome. but this is the language we're speaking.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I love it.
And the more overt you are in your content, the more of your people you'll draw in. Like I usually kick off our podcast. I try to talk about what happened with my family that week. We call them can't miss moments. So we'll bring those in and like what was something that happened that never, like I just went to Disney and Universal for 12 days. I never could have afforded that as a school teacher, you know? So I talk about it. And then I read a Bible verse at the end of all my podcasts because I'm just being overt. Like I read my Bible, and if you read your Bible, you're going to get along good here. And if you don't, that's fine. I will still help you. I don't care. I've had everybody from every race, religion, anything you can imagine in the Flipped Lifestyle community all over the world. Countries
but that
all
means
over the world.
they're there because they are attracted to what you said.
That's right.
It's a self-voting
Just
system.
know that is going to be part of the process. And, you know, it's fine. You can accept and reject any part of the process. That's cool. I just want you to know that we're all in this together. And that's what we want out of a membership.
Yes.
It's not you're better because you bought Shane and Jocelyn's product. You're better together because Shane and Jocelyn are with you, and so are hundreds of other people from around the world. Yeah, elementary librarians, we get you. No one else understands you in your school, but there are hundreds of elementary librarians in this room right now that you're connected to. And that's the power of what you can build in a membership model.
I love that. Listen, Shane, Sams, one more time, give us the link, give us the information. Where should people go? And we're going to be pushing this out quite a bit because I think all the Smart Hustle Nation people should be investing their time and energy in this. Shane, where do you want people to go to learn more about Flipped Lifestyle?
Hold on one second.
All right.
Because I had a special link and it is now not loading.
I have it here too. I think it's a /Smart Hustle, whatever.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about, man. All right. Well, the first thing I would say is thank you, man. I appreciate anybody that lets me come and talk to their people. And I just really appreciate you letting us come on today.
Absolutely.
You can check us out every Tuesday and Saturday on the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast. That's the best place to get into what we do. Every week I bring in real people from our community and I give them a 1-hour coaching call on air so that everybody can learn what to do. The Shane Sam Show comes out on Thursdays. So that's where I talk to amazing people like Ramon. He's been on there before, you know what I'm saying? And I talk to amazing influencers, authors, experts, and it's just a laid back conversation with me trying to learn from somebody. That's what it is. And also go to flippedlifestyle.com/smart hustle, FLIPPED lifestyle.com/smart hustle. And we have a free idea training. I pulled it right out of the community and it'll help you find your God-given talents and experiences that you can turn into a membership. It'll also help you research that idea to make sure it can make money online before you go too far down the rabbit hole. I highly recommend everybody who wants to start this membership journey, go take that course. That's flippedlifestyle.com/smart hustle. Appreciate you, man.
Hey, Shane, thank you so much. Really appreciate your time being with us today. And I encourage everybody to check that out. Really, it's going to be an amazing resource for you. Be blessed and have a great day. Hey, thanks so much for watching this interview or listening to the interview. I so appreciate it. Real quick before you go, can you do a few things for me? One, make sure you're going to smarthustle.com, and signing up for our weekly content. Wow. Every Thursday at 2 p.m., I send an inspirational email to help you grow your business and get you in the right mindset and other things we send out. So go to smarthustle.com and sign up. Two, if you're watching this on YouTube, definitely hit the subscribe button and sign up to our channel. If you're watching this on other platforms, hit like or other things. Three, could you comment, share however you're watching this in the platform, whether it's the podcast, the YouTube channel, wherever you're watching it, comment, let me know, hey, Ramon, I'm watching this, and this content, this interview you listen to really helped me. Those are a few things, but again, thanks so much for watching. Make sure you go to smarthustle.com, sign up for our email newsletter to hear more information from Ramon Ray, and or also subscribe on our YouTube channel. If you're listening to the sound of my voice on a podcast or otherwise, thanks for listening, and we'd love to hear from you. Have a beautiful day.